Hello again from Metro Manila, the Philippines, Southeastern Asia. I'll try to finish today my theories on the US presidents who were Freemasons. And we have come to James Buchanan. He's known as the president during whose final months in office, when he was already a lame duck president, southern states or so-called Confederate states started to secede or separate from the United States, although of course they did not separate for good. But this nevertheless led to the 4-year Civil War, 1861 to 1865, which was to consume virtually the entire presidency of his successor, Abraham Lincoln, who, by the way, was assassinated. According to William A. de Gregorio's maybe classic book, a reference book, the complete book of U.S. presidents, covering the life and times of US presidents from George Washington to Bill Clinton, although it only covered the start of Bill Clinton's 8-year troubled and scandal-filled presidency. James Buchanan was privately a Presbyterian, but only joined the Presbyterian Church after he had retired from the presidency because he had various doubts about the Christian faith. However, according to the Business Insider article published in 2017, to which I refer as my main source, he was also a Freemason. President Buchanan was born in April 1791 and died in June 1868. He was born in Cove Gap, Pennsylvania, and died in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So according to the Business Insider article from 2017, The Complete Idiot's Guide to Freemasonry claims that Buchanan was raised to Lodge number 43 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And then later he went on to become one of the consistently worst-ranked presidents in the US history because he was unable to keep the United States united. Then again, I don't know who among the US politicians in the 1850s and the start of 1860s could have kept the country from being at least temporarily divided, because the tempers had progressively, at least since the 1840s, become more and more heated, the tensions more and more sharp and pronounced over the issue of slavery. There were the abolitionists who wanted to end slavery wherever it existed. The northern states had already abolished it, and the issue was whether the expanding, mostly white US population in southwestern and western United States, and eventually northwestern United States, would also be allowed to practice slavery. One notable conflict on this issue arose in the Midwestern state of Kansas, which was known due to its essentially territorial war as the Bleeding Kansas. According to his Wikipedia article, and of course the other sources, he was the only US president never to marry. Several writers, including sociologist James W. Lewin, have speculated that he was a homosexual, which of course back then and until well into the 20th century was officially a crime. Authors Robert P. Watson and Shelley Ross also have speculated that he was a homosexual. One of his biographers, Gene Baker, argues that Buchanan was asexual. In other words, he had no real sexual attraction to either gender, or at the least celibate. He He did get engaged with Anne Coleman in 1819, but he at the time was a very busy lawyer, and he also had political projects during the panic or recession of 1819. Conflicting rumors abounded. Some suggested he was marrying her for her money because his own family was less affluent, or that he was involved with other women. He never publicly spoke of his motives or feelings, but letters from Anne revealed that she was aware of several rumors. Coleman broke off the engagement and soon afterward, in December 1819, died suddenly. Buchanan wrote her father for permission to attend the funeral, claiming, "I feel happiness has fled from me forever," but Robert Coleman refused permission. After Coleman broke off the engagement and shortly thereafter suddenly died, Buchanan never, according to his official biographies and other sources about his life, courted another woman. He did have a close and intimate relationship with William Rufus King, an Alabama politician who briefly served as vice president under Franklin Pierce. Though such a practice was then, and then Buchanan and King lived together in a Washington boarding house from 1834 until King departed for France in 1844. Such a practice was, however, common in the early 19th century, and King also referred to the relationship as a communion. The two also went to parties and other social events together. Contemporaries also remarked how close friends they were. And maybe this relationship has sparked rumors that Buchanan might have been a closeted homosexual. Let's see. According to the pbs.org website, pbs.org/WGBH/American Experience /features/God in America -white-house/. Buchanan was indeed born into a Presbyterian family. He attended church regularly and contributed to a variety of denominations. Though he reportedly decided to join the Presbyterian Church during his presidency, he chose not to become a communicant, in other words, an official member also entitled to take part in the Lord's Supper or the Holy Communion or the Eucharist, however you wish to call it, while in office, saying, "I must delay for the honor of religion. If I were to unite with the church now, they would say hypocrite from Maine to Georgia," or that he was doing so to become politically more popular. Never mind the fact that he decided wisely enough not to seek re-election in 1860. He joined the Presbyterian Church in Lancaster, Pennsylvania in March 1861, the same month when he had retired as president. It would be interesting to see what factors prompted him join Freemason. I'm going to try to search information from Encyclopedia Masonic. Well, apparently it's difficult to find. Okay, MasonicDictionary.com. So an additional source. It's interesting that there are at least some, probably several, websites maintained by Freemasons themselves, listing prominent men who have been members of that organization or are currently members. Yes, according to this source, at the age of 23, so either in 1814 or 1815, he petitioned Lodge number 43, the lodge had no name, of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and was elected and initiated on December the 11th, 1816, and both passed and raised on January the 24th, 1817. Those are the rituals that the men who want to join the Freemasons have to go through in order to attain the basic degrees, the lowest degrees of Freemasonry. He was elected junior warden on December the 13th, 1920, master on December the 23rd, 1822, and was installed on March the 12th, 1823. And on December the 27th, 1823, he was appointed first district deputy grand master for Lancaster, Lebanon, and York counties. On May the 20th, 1826, he was exalted in Royal Arch, chapter number 43, also a nameless lodge of Lancaster. 32 years later, he was made a life member by his lodge. He gave the address or formal speech in the Masonic dedication of the statue of Washington, George Washington, the first US president who also was a Freemason. Washington Circle, Washington, D.C., on February the 22nd, 1860. And after his death on June the 1st, 1868, he was buried Masonically by his lodge. Maybe his numerous doubts about Christianity made him want some degree of certainty into his spiritual or religious life, and that coupled with his desire for brotherhood or fraternity made him join the Freemasons, and especially if he had one or more close friends who recommended Freemasonry to him as a kind of brotherhood that he could join. Because after all, you can't just on your own, if you're a man and happen to be a middle class or an upper class man, preferably an upper class one, you can't just suddenly file for membership in a Masonic lodge. You have to have at least one member of that lodge recommending you. So that's some food for thought.